Let's spend a bit of time just talking about colour control on Neo. So what I'm going to do is bottom right of my console, I'm just going to go ahead and open my capture window so that we can see things a little bit easier. And bottom left of my console here, well, I'm not worried about the parameter view here. I don't need that window. So I'm actually going to go and minimise that using this icon here. And instead, I'm going to go more, and I'm actually going to open my colour picker because we're going to be talking about this today. So first things first, I'm going to go and select some fixtures. So I'm going to go and say 31 through at to get those on. And using my fixture control sidebar, I've gone to colour there. And let's start to talk about some of these options here. You'll see a colour mixing title there, colour mixing subtitle if you like. Below that, that's going to be all of the parameters that your fixture uses for its colour mixing. I'm using some VL2600s, Vari-Lite fixtures for this, and they have cyan, magenta, yellow subtractive mixing. But of course you might have fixtures with any sort of additive mixing combination, you know, red, green, blue, lime, red, green, blue, indigo, amber, you name it. You might have all sorts of different combinations, and you'll see all of those various emitters displayed in here. In the case of these fixtures, they've got a colour wheel, so I do have a drop down there which allows me to use the colour wheel. But what we'll focus on for this is talking specifically about the colour mixing. So if I want to, I can put full cyan in, full magenta, full yellow, so I can end up with black because it's subtractive mixing. And you'll see that as I start to go in colour mix, I do get my colour preview displayed within the classic view. Now, further down the bottom of this colour tab within the sidebar, you've got Use Advanced Colour Heuristic. All that means is that by default, Neo will be using all of the colour mixing parameters that your fixture has. So like we mentioned about, you might have a fixture with red, green, blue, lime. By default, lime will be included. It will be included in the colour mixing algorithm. But if you turn that off, it means that you can tell the console, just deal with RGB or just deal with CMY. It's not going to worry about any of the other emitters the fixture might have. At the bottom of this window, we've got a simple colour picker, a simple palette picker. And as you go and mix in that window, you can see it's live updating my on-screen faders, and of course, it's live updating my encoder wheels on the console as well. And this window here is just a slightly smaller version than the palette tab that we can access when we open our colour window here. So let's spend a bit of time taking a look at some of these other tabs within here. If we go to show, this gives us the option to automatically create colours, and it will also show us all of the colours that might currently be in use in this particular show. So just some very quick kind of different RGB level presets for us to use. The HSI tab, well, that allows us to actually mix in hue, saturation and intensity. You'll see that when you're in this mode, your encoder wheels on the console's live update to show you HSI. And you'll see that actually what's going on behind the scenes here is the console is converting your HSI control to CMY. Because in my case here, these particular fixtures, these VL2600s, are indeed subtractive mixing fixtures. Again, we've got RGB, similar thing. We can now mix in RGB no matter what actual colour mixing system our fixture uses. Same again for CMY. We can go and use the on-screen faders there, and again it live updates our encoders. But the next tab down is then filters. So this gives us access to the filter library on board the console, where we can choose to filter by brand. So I could go, if you like to work, for example, in Lee or Roscoe, you can use that drop down and go and jump straight to that particular brand of filter. And you can then go and choose the filter you need there. Next one down is spectrum, just a graphical way of you can drag around on screen to change the colour of those fixtures if you want to. And the very last one there we've got is CIE. So this will give you X and Y coordinates on the encoder wheels, and you can actually choose between the colour system you use, and you can actually change it from being the standard 1931 CIE chart if you want to. Popping back to the filters, well, filters of course are very handy, and often you're probably going to know some filter numbers that you like to use off the top of your head. So rather than needing to actually go and find those filters within the colour window, we can actually use colour syntax to control and grab control of particular filters. So what we can do is use a little bit of command line for our filter selection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set these fixtures back to white. So I'm going to put 0% cyan, magenta, yellow. And what I can now do is a little bit of syntax. So they're already selected. So I don't need to go and select those fixtures again. But what I'm going to say is I'm going to say at colour, and I can then start to type some information in. So if I say at colour and straight away type a number, that's going to do one of two things. If you have programmed a custom colour palette to that number, it's going to pop that colour palette into your lights. If you have not recorded a custom colour palette, it's going to apply the filter number that you've typed in. So if I go and say colour 4 enter, that has chosen Lee 004, medium bastard amber. The reason for that is because I haven't already got a colour palette stored as colour palette 4, and I have chosen within settings for my default filter library to be Lee. The way that I set that was in options, system properties, and within here I went to show defaults, and within here you'll see that there is a default fixture library option. If you can't see where the default fixture library option is, you'll just need to go to the other tab and you'll see that it is in there. So I've gone and chosen that my default library is Lee, which means I can simply say colour and then the Lee number. And as I said, if we don't have a colour palette stored of that number, we'll be using the filter number instead. But if you need to access a filter from a different gel manufacturer, or you need to access a filter that has actually got the same number as one of your colour palettes, you'll just need to define the filter manufacturer first. So this time I will need to say at colour, and then I will need to say 3.4 enter. The reason for that is we've got 4 filter libraries, Apollo, GAM, Lee and Roscoe, and they are numbered alphabetically in the software. Therefore, 1 dot is Apollo, 2 dot is GAM, 3 dot Lee, 4 dot Roscoe. So if I want L181, Lee 181, this time I'm going to go and say at colour 3.181 because Lee is filter library 3. Now we can also take this a step further because we can use some filter ranges. So L181, that's my Congo blue, but maybe I also want to do a blend with L768, for example. L768 is egg yolk yellow. So let's say that actually I want to do a blend. I want to go from 181 in this first fixture through to egg yolk yellow in fixture 37. Well, in this case here, I'm just going to start from afresh, so I'm going to do a double release. And I'm going to go and say 31 through 37. And I'm going to go and say at to turn those on. And I'm also then going to go and say at colour 3.181, because that is my Lee.Congo, through 3.768. That is Lee.EggYolkYellow, and hit enter. And I then get a blend from fixture 31, which is in Congo, through to fixture 37, which is in egg yolk yellow. I can also then take that a step further, because I might realise, oh, actually, I want my rig to still be symmetrical. So I want it to go from blue to yellow and back to blue. So this time I'm going to actually say at colour 3.181 through 3.768 through 3.181. And then I get my blend going from Congo to egg yolk yellow, and it's worked out what the middle fixture is for me automatically, and then it goes back to Congo again. So that is how we can do a filter range through our syntax.